and welcome to Southeast Wargaming. Today we'll be reviewing, and kind of an overview, the Legions of Nagash. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, it is as you would expect from Games Workshop. Great artwork, really well put together, feels like a proper solid, sturdy book. Goes deep into the lore for the realm of death and Shaiish, backed up with some really cool artwork, like so, if you can see that. Okay, I'm not going to go too much into the lore, purely because spoilers, and yeah, I think most of you are here to kind of see what kind of changes happened in the book, to be fair. So we're going to go straight on into it. It's got all the usual gumph, so you've got the middle part of the book with all the nice heavy metal painted miniatures and everything that's part of that. Right, so what we'll do is we'll go through the legions, or the new allegiances. So there's 4 new allegiances, but they also include Soul Blight and Nighthorn in this book. So we'll go through the unique battle traits for each allegiance, but there are some that are actually universal across all allegiances, and that is the Unquiet Dead is one of them, which means it's all about your grave sites. You get 4, 2 have to be in your territory and 2 have to be anywhere else on the battlefield. So what you can do with these is you can effectively place a unit into reserve and summon them onto the field via these grave sites. They're kind of like deep strike beacons. So they have to be but you have to have a hero from your army within 9 inches of a gravesite to be able to do this. So they kind of like summon the dead. So you need a death hero within 9 of a gravesite, and you may pick a single unit in the grave that's set up in the grave, so deep strike, and set up wholly within 9 of that gravesite, and more than 9 from the enemy models. And if they never come on, they're considered slain. So standard kind of deep striking stuff. They also have a following ability, Invigorating Aura. So at the start of your hero phase, pick a friendly summonable unit within 9 inches, and you can heal D3 wounds, or you can summon models back. But they can't. You may return a number of slain models to it that have a combined wounds characteristic equal to or less than the roll of a D3, which means you can only ever get back 1 cavalry. Because you can't bring back 2 because the combined wound characteristic you can't get on a D3, you can't get a 4. All allegiances have deathless minions, that hasn't changed. 6 inches of a death hero, 6 up shrug. What else do they have? So they also have a new command ability that your general knows. It's Endless Legions. So if your general uses this ability, choose a gravesite within 9 inches of them. You may pick a friendly summonable unit that has been destroyed and set it up again wholly within 9 of that gravesite and more than 9 from any enemy models. I mean, you're not really going to use it in match play because you have to spend the reinforcement points for that one. So now we'll go on to the more unique battle traits and artifacts. So, Grand Host of Nagash. They have something called Chosen Guardians, which I believe was already previewed by GW, which is add 1 to the attacks characteristic of all melee weapons used by Grand Host of Nagash Morghast units. Cool! And they also have Legions Innumerable. In your hero phase, you may roll a dice for each friendly Grand Host of Nagash summonable unit on the battlefield. On a 5+, you can heal up to D3 wounds that have been allocated to it. For units with a wound characteristic of 1, return 1 slain model to the unit for each wound that would have been healed. Basically, skeletons, graveguard, zombies, they're just going to keep replenishing. Especially with the new Deathly Invocation, which we'll go through when we get to the War Scrolls. So, what else is there to note? Okay, so this is interesting. In the Allegiance abilities, this is where it tells you how many additional spells from their new Laws of Magic they get. So the Laws of the Dead, which is Death and Vampire, I believe. So in this one, for instance, Grand Host of Nagash, Magic. All wizards in the Grand Host of Nagash know an additional spell from one of the Laws of the Dead. But if Nagash is included in the army, he instead knows an additional 3. So he gets crazy amped on spells. So we'll go through a couple of command traits now, and a couple of artifacts. But honestly, I'm just going to pick out the ones that I kind of like, that I noticed, so, or kind of stood out to me. So command traits, the one I really liked was Lord of Nagash. Add 1 to the attack characteristics of melee weapons used by friendly death rattle units that are within 6 of this general. Okay, Grave Guard, 3 attacks. If your general's a vampire lord, that 4 attacks each, 5 for a champion. Huh, not bad. What else have we got here? Any ones that kind of stand out? There's Ancient Strategist, Rerolled Felled Charger's Friendly Death Rattle, and Morghast units that are within 9. That's kind of cool. And a couple of decent artifacts, or ones that stood out to me, is the Ossific Diadem. This crown of blackened bone was crafted from the remains of an ancient necromancer and carries a fraction of the being's unholy power. So, roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to a friendly death rattle unit within 12. On a 6, that wound is negated. Okay, so you can get +1 attack for units within 6, and then with that you get your a double feel no pain. So you get your Deathless Minion within 6, and then only for death rattle, bear in mind, then you get another 6 up feel no pain. That is truly going to make them pretty damn annoying to get rid of. Ugh. Okay, so we'll go on to the next one now. I've just had a lot of experience with skeletons, they annoy me. Thankfully the banners are gone, but I think this might be worse. Right, so the Legion of Sacrament, which is Arcan the Black's Legion. So all wizards in the Legion of Sacrament know 1 additional spell. Arcan doesn't get any different ones, which is a little strange, but fair enough. They still have the Unquiet Dead, which is the grave sites, Deathless Minions, and they all have the Endless Legion's command ability, which I explained earlier. Unique command traits that kind of jumped out at me, which was kind of cool. Bound to the Master. This general may use Arcan the Black's First of the Mortarch's command ability. That's kind of cool. Oh, it's worth mentioning, if you go Sacrament, Blood or Knight, if you include any Mortarchs, then it must include, for instance for Sacrament, Arcan the Black, and he must be the general. So for Knight that'll be Manfred, and for Blood that'll be Neferata. Okay, so command traits stood out. So this is kind of cool. Mastery of Death. At the start of your hero phase, all friendly death units within 6 of this general may immediately make a move of up to 3 inches, as if it were your movement phase. They may not run as part of this move. Little nudge. I like it. Cool. Gets you about a bit faster. Reroll failed charges. Yeah, normal stuff. And an artifact that kind of jumped out to me. Let's have a look. I actually really like the Azurbane Standard. So, this banner is woven from the skin of a Sigmarite battle wizard and desecrated with the blood of the God King's faithful. Subtract 1 from wound rolls for enemy units within 6 of the bearer. Cool. In addition, reroll success and cast rolls for Order wizards. Okay, so it's more useful against Order, but I mean, the subtract 1 from wound rolls is pretty damn nice within 6, especially if you're on a combat lord like a vampire. Any others that kind of stick out to me? Let's have a look. Shroud of Darkness. Woven from strands of pure night, this shadowy mantle renders its bearers all but invisible. So, subtract 1 from the hit rolls of attacks that target the bearer in the shooting phase, if the attacking unit is within 8, or subtract 2 from the hit rolls of attacks that target the bearer in the shooting phase, if the attacking unit is more than 8. Pretty good, I like it. So, going back... Wow, this is all over the place. First video, guys. Right, so going back to the battle traits for Sacrament, they have the Master's Teaching. Whenever an enemy unit is destroyed, before removing the last model, you may pick one of your grave sites within 6 of that model, roll a dice, then remove the model. On a 4+, you may pick a friendly summonable unit that has been destroyed and set it up again, wholly within 9 of that grave site, and more than 9 from any enemy models. Again, if you're using match play, not massively useful, because you'd need to pay the points for it. And then the Black Disciples. Friendly Legion of Sacrament wizards may add 1 to casting rolls. I like it. Simple, decent. Good for that kind of, that army. I almost ripped it down. Right, next onto the Legion of Blood. Again, Unquiet Dead, Gravesides, Deathless Minions. They've also got Immortal Majesty. Subtract 1 from the bravery characteristic of enemy units within 6 of any friendly Legion of Blood units. I kind of like that. And Favoured Retainers. Add 1 to the attacks characteristics of all melee weapons used by friendly Legion of Blood Vampire Lords and Legion of Blood Blood Knights. I like that too. That's really good. I like having 3 attacks, Blood Knights, 4 for a charge. Right, so command traits that stood out to me. Let's have a look. Reroll failed charge rolls for Soul Blight. But then I suppose if you're going Soul Blight, you'd go just a full Soul Blight list, maybe? I don't know. Walking Death. If the hit roll attack is a 6, do not roll twice. I quite like Sanguine Blur. Add 2 to the general's move characteristics. In addition, you can reroll failed charge rolls. You've also got... That's very specific. Let's have a look. Oh, that's kind of cool. So, Walking Death. If the hit roll of an attack made by one of this general's melee weapons is a 6+, do not roll to wound. Instead, the target suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic of that weapon. Okay, that's kind of cool. Right, any artifacts that stood out? I quite like the Oblight Arcana. This casket resembles a miniature coffin carved from ivory and black wood. It captures arcane energy, allowing the bearer to redirect enemy wizard's magic. Right, so when an enemy wizard successfully casts a spell within 30 of the bearer, instead of attempting to unbind, it can declare that the Oubliette Arcana will attempt to capture the magic's energies. Roll dice on a 6+, the spell is negated and has no effect. In addition, the spell may not be cast again by that wizard for the rest of the battle. I kind of like that. I know it's on a 6+, but it's not a one-use item, which is pretty cool. So you can use it multiple times, I guess? I guess so. Right, okay. Are there any others that kind of... Nah. Right, going on to Manfred's, the Legion of Night. Again, gravesites, deathless minions, all the same. Let's have a look. So, what's their unique battle traits? The Bait, which was previewed, is add 1 to the save rolls for Legion of Night Death Rattle units, wholly within your territory. I mean, it's good for ejector grabbing. Why not? If you have like a unit somewhere. Cool. Won't affect... No, because they're not Death Rattle. Won't affect zombies. Aegis Cunning. Instead of setting up a Legion of Night unit on the battlefield, you can place it to one side and say that it's set up in ambush. You can do this with up to 3 units, and at the end of any of your movement phases, you can set up any of the units in ambush wholly within 6 of any battlefield edge, and more than 9 away from enemy models. I like it. I really like it. I think that's awesome, especially if you're doing match play and doing the pitch battle profiles, battle plans, because movement is awesome, and being able to like kind of teleport around like the Seraphim can do now, and a lot of other armies can kind of jump about, is really useful. And the fact that you can keep them back and it's any Legion of Night units, I think that's awesome. If I was to go Death, I think it would be either Legion of Night or fully Nighthawk. So let's have a look. Command traits. I think a couple of noted ones. Terrifying Visage. Subtract 1 from the bravery with enemies within 6. Let's have a look. Oh, I quite like Above Suspicion. This general may be set up in ambush in addition to 3 units normally allowed by the Aegis Cunning battle trait. I quite like that. Swift Form, add 2 to the general's move. In addition, add 2 to the distance they can move when they run. Okay. Nothing else there that really, like, in my face that's jumping out. Going to the Artifacts of Night. Let's have a look. So... No, it wasn't that. I think the one I actually liked just for fluff reasons was the Curse Blade. After armies have set up, but before the first battle round begins, you can pick an enemy hero in your hero phase. As long as the enemy hero is on the battlefield, you can roll a dice on a 4+. That enemy hero suffers 1 mortal wound, and you may heal a wound that has been allocated to the bearer. So it's every hero phase, it looks like. You can just kind of like slap a little wound back. It's kind of nice. Yeah. I think you'd more use this for the deep strike aspect of it. So we've got 2 new lovely Laws of the Dead. Whoa. So I was looking forward to this. We've got the Law of the Death Mages and Law of the Vampires. Again, I'm not going to go fully into everything that's here, but we'll have a little gander over a couple of them. Ooh, so this is interesting. The Locus of Shaiish. So, if you make an unmodified casting roll for 9+ for a Death Wizard that is attempting to cast a spell from the Law of Death Mages or the Law of Vampires, so it applies to both, and is not unbound, after resolving the effects of the spell, you may immediately resolve them for a second time. Yeah, it's awesome. I like it. And especially with Nagash with his plus 1,000,000 to cast, +3 maybe, over-exaggerate a little bit. He's going to be getting that kind of quite a lot. And it even says specifically that it can stack, so yeah, you can either pick a different unit, or it can go onto the same unit and apply its bonuses a second time. I like that. That's awesome. I play Bone Splitters, so I roll stuff on doubles, and that's cool. But this is kind of damn cool too. Right, I'm not going to go through all the spells. That would spoil it. Anything that kind of jumps out at me. There are some, I'm not going to lie, okay, so there are some kind of dud spells in here that aren't the best. They probably have niche uses, I would say. But then there are a couple that are really good, especially if you get that Locus of Shaiish off. So, Overwhelming Dread, casting value of 5, pick an enemy unit with 18. Till next foe, subtract 1 from the hit rolls for that unit, and subtract 1 from the bravery. This is on the Law of Death Mages. If you do that twice, that's 2 off the bravery and 2 to hit. -2 bravery, -2 to hit. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's really good. I mean, if you get the 9+, I mean, on its own, it's great, but with the double, I think that's really nice. Anything from the Law of Vampires that I really like? Let's have a look. I think I like the Amaranthine Orb. Which is a casting value of 7. If successfully cast, pick a point in the battlefield within 12 of the caster. Draw a imaginary straight line, 1 millimeter wide. Okay, so roll a dice for each unit, friend or foe, apart from the caster that has any models beneath this line on a 4+, suffer d6 mortal wounds. I kind of like that. It's a 50-50 chance for each unit kind of under the line, but if you, again, I mean, it's good, and if you get the 9+, you can either do it along the same straight line twice, which is badass, or you can do 2 separate lines going out, so you can actually hit a massive amount of different units with that. And if you do get those 4+, if you spike dice, that's d6 mortal wounds to each of those units. That's pretty cool. Right, Soul Blight, I don't think, I did write it down, hasn't changed at all really, apart from Death Restores the same, Bloodlines are the same. Yeah, I think they're all the same, so I probably won't cover them unless it's the Death normal one. Yeah, alright, fair enough. Okay, so it does come with a couple of battle plans. You've got Turn the Tables and Ancient Warriors, which would be fun to try out. This was going to be accompanied by a battle report, but unfortunately the Death Army isn't quite ready. It's almost there. I thought I'd have a battle report out quicker than this, but it's almost there. Just hold on. Right. You've also got your Path to Glory in here, so Warband, Legion of Nagash Warband tables with their own monster followers and command abilities and everything, which is cool. A few War Scroll battalions. I can't remember the actual name of them. Yeah, War Scroll battalions. Okay, so on to the actual War Scrolls. What I'm going to do for this is just point... That was like I flashed it, didn't I? Whoop. I'm just going to point out any changes that I found. There may be more, and if there are, just leave them in the comments below. Any that I've missed at all. So let's have a look. Nagash, Arcan, they're both the same as they were. Actually, most of it is, to be fair. Manfred, Mortarch of Night, Neferata. So new unit, Prince Vordry, I think. Yeah, I think you can find his stats on the website, but he is pretty damn cool, and I like his command ability. Pick a friend. Okay, it's situational. Death hero. Turn upon an attack or wizard attempt to cast. Okay, so that's alright. So just I'm mumbling. So if Prince Vordry uses this ability, pick a friendly death hero within 14 of him. You cannot choose Prince Vordry. That hero can immediately either pile in an attack as if it were the combat phase, or if it's a wizard, attempt to cast a spell. A spell in addition to any others that they can cast this phase. Right. Oh, so one thing we should mention is the Deathly Invocation. This is... So they got rid of all the banners, so D6 skeletons aren't coming back. But each hero has this thing called Deathly Invocation. Now you might be thinking, what does that mean? Well, what that means, if you haven't seen the preview, is each hero can pick a certain number of units in each hero phase and heal D3 wounds, or if they're at full wounds, but heal models back up to their starting amount. So D3. And again, you can only ever get back one knight, because they have to have a combined wounds characteristic equal to or less than the roll of a D3. So you can't get back 4 on a D3. So up to one knight, black knight, or up to 3 skeletons or zombies. So now each hero has this, and they have to pick different units. But it doesn't say anything about different heroes picking the same units. You could proper stack, like overlap them, and really just res up those grave. God, I'm never gonna die. Jesus. Oh God. So right, carrying on. Morghast, Harbingers, and Archive. I don't believe they've changed. Subtract 1 bravery. Oh, I think they did something to wizards instead. Actually, I think they just subtract 1 from. Oh, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. So Zombie Dragon, Vampire Lord, and Zombie Dragon. They've got the -3 rend on their Pestilent Breath now, like the Flesh Eater Courts one. So that's good. I'm glad that kind of consistency is evened out. Bloodlights have lost their banner and lost their not summonable. Yes. But their standard bearer. So all the standard bearers seem to subtract 1 from the bravery of enemy units within 6 of any death standard bearers. So I think that's going to be their standard banner now. Vargheists, they're not summonable. Actually, I'll tell you all the units are summonable. Bat Swarms are summonable. They haven't changed. Fellbats are summonable. Vampire Lord, he hasn't changed, but he's got Deathly Invocation up to 3. New unit, Bloodseeker Palanquin. I'm not going to go too much into that because I think that's been previewed already. Coven Throne, Mortis Engine. None of them are summonable. Necromancer. So he's still got the throw a zombie in the way on a 4+, allocate to the unit. He can definitely invocate 2 different summonable units, and he's still got Van Hell's Dance Macabre, but it's pick a friendly summonable unit with an 18, so it's not just any death unit, I believe, that it used to be. Zombies, the same, they're awesome, love them. 2 new, well not new, 2 War Scrolls for the Corpse Cut now, Unholy Lodestone and the Balefire Brazier. I don't think anything changed with them when looking through it. Terrorgeist Zombie Dragon, again changed the rend to -3 like the Flesh Eater ones, so they're great. Terrorgeist, so I did notice one thing changed on the Terrorgeist's War Scroll, the Gaping Maw. It used to be when you hit roll of a 6+, the unit would suffer 6 mortal wounds. It's slightly changed, so listen to this. Each time you make a hit roll of 6+ for this model's Fanged Maw, the attack is automatically successful. Determine damage normally, do not make a wound or save roll, but increase the weapon's damage characteristic to 6. So it's not mortal wounds anymore. It's just a auto wound, no armor saves, 6 damage weapon when you hit on a roll of a 6+. That's interesting. I wonder why they changed that. I think maybe to do with the how many mortal wound shrugs are out there, and they wanted it to be like just swallow something whole, maybe. But that's interesting. Zombie Dragon we've covered. White King with Baleful Tombblade has lost the banner, but you know, it's not too bad. Same stats apart from that: 3 up save, 4 move, and then the White King with the Black Axe, 4 up save, but has the Black Axe, so it could just outright kill something. Definitely indicates same command ability as before. Black Knights, they are summonable. They haven't changed. Graveguard are summonable. I think you're going to see a lot of Graveguard. Definitely. I mean, you saw them all kind of a lot anyway. Skeleton Warriors, summonable. Nothing else has changed. Cairn Wraith. Oh, so interesting thing to know. All of the Nighthawk units that I can see have the Frightful Touch ability that the Spirit Hosts do. So on the roll of a hit to 6, don't make a wound roll, it just inflicts a number of mortal wounds, generally 1. But the heroes, so the Cairn Wraith for instance, any hit roll of a 6 with the Reaper Scythe inflicts 2 mortal wounds. And then the Tomb Banshee is any hit rolls of 6, D3 mortal wounds. I like that little boost for just pure Nighthaunt armies, even though it's not just pure Nighthaunt armies that get that. The Black Coach has it now. I was just actually thinking that would be really nice with Knight of Shrouds, who's not in this book, weirdly. He's in the Malign Portents book. His command ability is +1 to hit for all Nighthaunt units. So if he's your general, +1 to hit with a load of Cairn Wraith Banshees, that's on a 5+, you're doing those mortal wounds. I kind of like that, it's pretty cool. Might have to do Nighthaunts. Okay, and I think that's everything there, so they haven't changed, they've just got the Frightful Touch, Hex Wraiths are the same. So what we'll go through, one thing I must note, there has been actually no points changes at all in this Battletome. I've gone through it, maybe I missed one, most probably, who knows, yeah. But what I did notice them here, I've noted them down. So Vargheists are no longer battle line under Soul Blight allegiance. Blood Knights have stayed, they've unchanged, they're still battle line under Soul Blight. Morghast and Graveguard are battle lined under Grand Host and Nagash, which is cool. And Spirit Hosts and Hex Wraiths remain battle line under Nighthaunt Allegiance. Nighthaunt Allegiance. Yeah, so it doesn't include I think that's the only changes, honestly. Yeah, no point changes, and they've got, what's that, 6 new War Scroll battalions, which yeah, they're kind of cool and stuff. But yeah, and that's the book. If you are a Death player, definitely recommend this book massively. It's awesome. I'm not even a Death player, not in Age of Sigmar anyway. But the lore's good. As I said, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but it does have some little hints and stuff about what Morathi's been doing, because it's relevant to Nagash, which is kind of cool. And hell, even if you're not a Death player, this is just a good book anyway, filled with lore, along with the Malign Portents book. Just finding out more about what's happened, not about the world that was, but kind of that big section that's kind of missing, that's like world it was, then the Age of Myth, and the Age of Chaos. We kind of know what happened in there, but we don't know how Nagash kind of got from there to there. And so I think that is covered in this book, which is quite nice. But that's everything. If there's anything I can do better, leave it in the comments below, and please like and subscribe if you like this video, or if I did a good job, or hell, dislike it if I didn't. I will try and get the battle reports out to you soon, but you take it easy, and happy wargaming, guys. Peace!